everyone. Happy Saturday and welcome back to the Pregame show. My name's Dylan Walker.
And I'm Emma Lightfoot, and today we're going to just go ahead and break down the matchup between OSU and Arizona State.
Yeah.
So, kind of a little history behind these two teams. We've met up 3 total times. Our record is 1-2 against them, so they beat us twice. But last time it was in 1993, and that resulted in a 12-10 loss for the Cowboys. So, kind of just tell me a little bit about what your thoughts are going into today's game.
I mean, obviously, 93 was almost 30 years ago.
Yes.
A long gap in between this game and the previous. But I think that, this was also the first time that Gundy's going to be taking this team against ASU. And so I think that that is something that's going to be really actually beneficial for us because, I mean, he is a very prominent leader. And especially in tough games, he really knows how to pull through. So I think that last game was kind of like a good start for us. We played a MAC team, so I mean it wasn't like a Power 5, and ASU is a Power 5, so I think it's definitely going to be a very big step up. But I have a lot of faith in Gundy. I have a lot of faith in this team. I know that we had some complications at the end of last game, but I mean we're back now, and I think that was kind of just like a game to get the kinks out and to get us started on the right foot. So I think I think it's going to be good. I mean, I think it'll be a tough game, but I think it'll be a lot of fun.
Yeah, and I mean, the last one we won 58-44. Like you said, there were a little bit of kinks, Going into the third quarter, we were up, was it 51-15? I think so. I definitely think there was some second half issues going on there, just with, some younger guys getting a chance to play and kind of just getting adjusted, like you said, getting all the kinks out of everything. So it should be interesting to see if, we possibly do get that lead again today, to see what the coaches do in that aspect of things. Like, are they going to let those younger guys get another chance this game, or are they not going to risk it? Because last time it obviously was a little worrying, but I don't know. It was kind of cool to see that they were able to get a taste of, what being in the game is like.
Yeah.
And, I mean, our offense had 531 total offensive yards. Sanders had 463 of those. Like, those are some huge numbers, especially for a matchup against Central Michigan. Like, they were a solid team, as we saw, with the game being closer towards the end. So I think it'll definitely be some really interesting things going on today against Arizona State.
I think so too, and I know tonight is actually a special game. OSU is honoring running back Terry Miller from the class of 77, and he is getting inducted to the College Football Hall of Fame this year. And so, like we said, class of 77, it's been a minute, but he was dominant at OSU. It says here that he was a runner-up for the Heisman Trophy his senior season, and he got drafted 5th overall in the following year to the Bills, But even at OSU, I have notes here that he rushed the ball 871 times throughout his career.
That's a lot of carries.
For 44,754 yards for 49 touchdowns, So that's a very hefty stat in itself. I don't think it's a very rare stat as well. So I think that obviously this guy is due credit. He's impeccable. So I'm excited. I know he's going to be at the game tonight. So I think that'll be something special for the team too. Like they have a lot to prove just against Arizona State themselves, but also now they have someone who is very successful out of this program, and I think that that's going to show them like, okay, this is worth it. Like I need to pay my
kind
dues.
of like honor him with that, So
exactly.
I think it'll be cool. And Arizona State played Northern Arizona last week, and they won 50-3. So that's kind of like, okay, was it just a really bad team that they played, or was it actually, them figuring out things just early on and coming in with a statement against a strong Oklahoma State team, So I think it'll be, literally they had 17 players at the transfer portal, like all of last season. They lost so many players. So it's kind of like they're in the rebuild season, but at the same time, like they have a lot of guys that came in from really strong like Power 5 teams. Like their quarterback, Emory Jones, he came from Florida, and he had a really, really strong season last year. And same with their running back. He's out of, I think it was Wyoming is what it was.
I believe so.
So they both had really strong seasons last year. So it'll be cool to see kind of how they match up in that aspect of things. They are getting things figured out, but those two guys are like staples in their offense, and they both came from really strong teams. So
yeah, like you said, a lot of changes. 17 guys to the portal is like, that's like more than people are on the field.
Yeah,
Like
literally.
That's a lot. So that's concerning. I feel like having to rebuild a program that big with that, or I mean, with that big of a loss is really difficult. We lost a lot of key players, but it wasn't 17, you know? And so I think that that's going to be something that is kind of going to set ASU back. At least they're going to have to really, like, power through that.
Yeah.
But also, I know we talked about Power 5. You know, this is the first time either team is playing a Power 5 school, and NAU is not one. And I think that 50-3 win, I mean, like, if I was coming off a game 50-3 win, I'd be, like, pumped.
Like, yeah, let's
but
go.
No, like, you are going to have a way different challenge.
Yes.
So I think that I'm curious to see, because ASU is also a big rushing team. So I'm curious to see kind of how our defense kind of pushes back against that and how our offense reacts to their defense, because, I mean, they're prepared. So I'm excited. I think we're going to bring a lot of power to the field, and I think we're going to kind of be the driving force of this game. I'm more just curious kind of how ASU is going to react to that.
Yeah.
And like we were saying, changes players as well as coordinators. They got a new defensive coordinator and a new, I believe, offensive coordinator. So they're really up to the challenge here.
Like completely starting over.
Yeah, they stripped themselves bare, and now they're putting it back on. So I think that this is going to be a lot of pressure, especially in these early games, to kind of work everything out. And I know we've probably said that a million times, but I think that that's just going to be the focus, is every team has something to work on, but it's whether or not it's going to show that they've been successful with that.
Yeah, I agree. And, like, they got their, like you said, the new defensive coordinator, Donnie Henderson. He's got some experience from other leagues before, but I definitely think it's cool that, you know, we both have those new defensive coordinators. So we're just trying to figure everything out just like they are. But I think, I don't know, I feel like our guys have, you know, they did really well last week, obviously, up until like halfway through the third quarter. So it should be interesting to see how that kind of plays out too with the new coordinators and everything.
I agree. So. I think it'll be a great game, and I think that I'm curious to kind of see kind of how we bounce back from that big breakdown last weekend. I know we didn't get too much into it we didn't get too much out of it, I mean, from Mike Gundy. So I'm curious to see kind of how this week they prepared for something new and how they're going to kind of build back. And so I think
it might be kind of like a mindset of, you know, that happened, but we're just going to try to forget about it and focus on this next matchup.
Exactly.
Yeah, so it should be interesting to see how they kind of deal with that, just because it was kind of like almost a slap in the face towards the end of like, oh my gosh, like that was a close game to a team that wasn't supposed to be close, you know? So it should be interesting to see how they respond to Arizona State today. Like you said, Power 5 school. So I'm excited. I am too. I think it'll be interesting for sure, seeing how they figure it out today.
Yeah.
But
I know. I'm excited too. We talked a lot. I know we talked a lot about leadership. But before we get into that, we're going to actually send it over to Mia and Jacob with Who Has the Edge.
Howdy, y'all. I'm Jacob.
And I'm Mia.
And who has the edge? That's the big question for every game, really. And for that, we're going to be starting off with a very underrated unit that doesn't get covered much. We'll start with special teams, which is crucial to many aspects of the game, really. In terms of Oklahoma State, the big thing with special teams is experience.
And I think that's really what's going to come down to it, as giving OSU the edge on it, is they're more experienced than ASU in this field, because ASU has a freshman kicker, and we have seniors and juniors as our kickers and punters, and we also have Brennan Presley on that receiving team. So really we have the upper edge overall compared to ASU.
Yes. Big thing, OSU, forget the kickers, Tanner Brown, I think that's the kicker. So you got Tanner Brown, a kicker. He's done this before. It's routine for him. Same thing for Tom Hutton, a punter. They have the long snapper back, as they normally do. So a very experienced unit that has gone through a lot of reps together, and so that's not necessarily an issue. Return man wise, Brennan Presley, he's used to it. In terms of Arizona State, new kicker, new punter, things are new, things are fresh here. at Arizona State, and that really could hurt them when it comes down to the wire.
However, we can't necessarily cut them out because their kicker
has
proven himself in the past.
Yes.
But we do have the experience, and that's really just going to give us the edge. And I think one thing that's really going to come out of special teams is whether we can have big plays out of Brennan Presley, whether he's got a long run, and that just kind of gives us motivation, can kind of change the way of the game, because
field position,
the game could honestly be pretty close coming down from offensive defense. So special teams could give us some good motivation out of those guys with that experience really helping them out.
It could come down to a battle of field position, which is very, very, very important, and Brennan Presley returning it, Tom Hutton punting it, that could be very huge when it comes down to the wire. When it's in the nitty-gritty, offense can't really get anything going, so we're shifting, punting back and forth, getting field position. Tom Hutton, he's used to it, and he's got the experience. I think
and
that's
like
a
you
huge
said,
edge there.
Like he's got the experience. So for him, it's just going through the motions, kind of, how am I going to play this out? What do I like? He already knows what he needs to do. He's going to go out there and he's going to do it.
Gotcha.
And so it's not really, can Brennan, he knows what he's doing. He can read the field really well. So that experience is just going to be, it's what sends us over the edge compared to ASU, because they just have so many new guys. It's a matter of, are they going to be able to get into the routine for the second game of the year? I think you can't necessarily count them out, because they could have clicked. They might have it. They have good kickers. They have good punters. That's not really a surprise.
Right.
But do they have the flow of the game as well as OSU?
Yep. And another thing here that no one really ever talks about in terms of special teams, long snapper. Huge, because that's what starts the play. When you got a big kick, you got to kick a 45-yarder to send your team to half. That's the long snapper's where it starts at, and also in punting as well. So having him a returning long snapper, you got a returning kicker, returning holder, everything's going to look pretty fluid in terms of that.
They have that trust already built up, because
all the trust. That's another huge thing in terms of the kicking.
They just have that commitment. They already know how everybody plays, and I think that's just going to help us out.
Yep. All right, and we're heading to Connor now in the Camus grounds.
And hey, Emma, we're back out here right outside Boone Pickens Stadium over to my left side. And of course, we got to start talking with some tailgaters around here, getting the vibe about tonight's matchup with Arizona State. I got a great little friend right here. This is Hannah. Hannah, how's the tailgating been going so far? We having fun? Come on. We having a good time?
Yay!
I mean, we see you got a little brownie there. How is it? Is it good? All right. What are your upcoming thoughts on the game? Thoughts on the Texas loss?
Ooh, yikes.
No. I don't know if this is a Texas fan or an OSU fan right now. She turned away. But anyways, I'm here with Maddie. She's the life of the party is what I'm being told right now. Maddie, how long have we been out here today?
We've been out since about noon.
Wow. So how long have you guys been out here in total coming out to OSU?
We graduated college in 2018. So we've been here since 2014. Kind of always here in this spot, always tailgating and having a great time.
All right, so if you've been here so long, then the spread's got to be consistently good as well. So what do we have here today?
So
bring it on in.
We always kind of change it up a little bit, but today we have the veggies and tons of dip.
Okay.
We had some, this here was some dessert, but it's absolutely gone. There's some tacos to go kind of thing.
Tacos to go?
And always mac and cheese. Never forget the mac and cheese.
So the mac and cheese is a staple for success?
No question.
All right, so far 1-0 with the mac and cheese this year?
Pretty much, yeah.
Excellent.
Yeah.
All right, so now I got to start asking the hard-hitting questions.
Oh boy.
We just saw a Big 12 loss of Texas, where some fans got pretty excited there, and potentially some ref ball happening in between. But what are the thoughts on Texas losing? I mean, isn't that just great to begin with?
Yes and no. So I hate OU more than I hate Texas. So I would rather Texas win it than anyone else. But that's okay. We'll get them. We'll get them when we have the chance.
Okay. Now before we go, we always got to end it off with the horns down, just to.
Always.
All right.
Always.
Right back to you, Dylan and Emma.
Thank you for that, Connor. That was amazing. But before we head to break, we're going to be breaking down the defense in the next segment. So please be sure to stick around to the pregame show. We'll see you after this.
Ace in the Bowl salsa started many, many years ago. I was trying to find a recipe to take to a family gathering, and so I started messing around with different recipes, and I took a little bit from here and a little bit from there, and I came up with a salsa that is truly unique. Ace in the Bowl salsa is an olive oil-based salsa with tomatoes, green chilies, green onions, and black olives. There's no sugar added, it's gluten-free, low calorie, low carb, low fat, low sodium. So it's a very, very, very good alternative to any snack you may want. As of right now, I'm just looking to be in Oklahoma and having a successful business within the state. If my grandkids could ever take it over when they're old enough, that would be my dream.
Our state is one of the most beautiful and unique states in the USA. With diverse geographies, the historic Route 66, unforgettable restaurants, and some of the greatest people on the planet. With so much to see and so much to do, living in Oklahoma means one of the best vacation spots is right in our own backyard. Doesn't this story need to be told? As filmmakers and photographers based right here in Oklahoma, we thought so. And hey, who doesn't like a good road trip? So, we packed up our cameras, teamed up with Lieutenant Governor Matt Pinnell and the Oklahoma Tourism and Recreation Department, and that's how this series was born. We want to show you why traveling within the great state of Oklahoma is a great idea. So come join us for thousands of miles over the next year, from Broken Bow to Black Mesa. This is the Oklahoma Road Trip.
My name's Kayla. I've been here since the beginning, so 4 years. Scratch is more focused on farm and mostly made in Oklahoma products, keeping it local. Sustainability is our biggest thing. That's one of the reasons why this place opened.
I've been the chef here at Scratch for 2.5 years. Started here as a line cook. Our food and drinks are a bit separate entities almost inside the restaurant. So the food is now up to 85% of the products we bring in are raised or grown locally. It's all based off of things that I grew up eating in southern Oklahoma, the things my grandparents ate.
Fresh food, clean food, organic food, sustainability, that's all of our thing. From front of house to back of house, we're able to maintain both with freshness. But made in Oklahoma means we get it straight from the farms that are 20, 30 minutes, another little county away. We get it straight from them.
Hey guys, thank you so much for coming back to the pregame show. Emma, we got a lot to break down in this segment. So we're going to be talking about the defense. Do you want to kick us off?
Yeah, sure. So kind of like we said earlier, it was a little iffy towards the end of the game against Central Michigan, but at the beginning, it was going really well. We had everyone in, with the new coordinator, Derek Mason. I think he had things pretty much under control until we gave the newer guys a chance to play. But, I mean, it says here that we held Central Michigan to 3.1 yards per play, which is a really solid stat in my opinion. But we did give up 8.7 yards per pass attempt. So I think that, like in the air, a little more iffy. Pass coverage is a little something that we might need to work on a little bit more. But I think since Arizona State is such a run-heavy offense, I think we'll be a lot more. I don't know. I think it'll be a lot
prepared.
Yeah, a lot more prepared.
Especially having Spencer on our team is going to help us a lot because he is also very run game heavy. So I know that they kind of know how to react to him. So I think that's going to be. I think that's going to be a leg up for us, and I think it'll be a leg up for them too, since their quarterback is also extremely run.
They kind of know how to handle it a little bit.
Yeah, so I think, like we talked about, I think it was maybe last show that we said it's going to be kind of a battle of the defenses.
Yes,
and I think that's very true for this game. But yeah, I also want to say I feel like a big chunk of a lot of the stats might unfortunately be because of what happened in that last third quarter. It was just a breakdown, and it was also just we put in a lot of new guys who hadn't ever played a college football game, it's a big deal that they saw the field that day, even though it was Not perfect,
right?
to say the least.
They got the experience in. That was the point.
You know,
so
that was the first game. That was literally the first game they played for
Yes.
OSU. So I know that kind of set the tone. Like, whoa, this is not high school football anymore. And I think that they're gonna bounce back.
Yeah, and even Gundy said, like, at the press conference after, he was talking about, I'll just quote him. He said, defensively, we played good up until the middle of the third quarter, and we had a lot of young guys get a taste of what it's like to be out there. So kind of similar to what we're saying, like, all of those guys just really got a chance to kind of figure out, you know, how it actually works. And now that we have, you know, a kind of an idea of what that looks like, it'll be a little bit more straightforward, I think, against an Arizona State team.
I think so too, and I think there's honestly a lot less room for error in this game because they're a far more dominant team than CMU.
Yes.
And so I think that that's going to kind of shorten the rope that like the OSU defense kind of has that slack to work with. No, like they have to be on their A game, and if they're not, it's going to show, and no one wants that.
And even Arizona State's defense, last year they were the only FBS team to not allow a 50-yard play. So those big plays that sometimes our offense counts on, you know, to get ahead in the game, I don't know if we'll be able to have. I don't know if we'll be able to do that this week.
Yeah.
So that's a pretty big stat. I mean, literally the only team to ever do that this past season. And it says here that they held opponents to less than 30 points in 31 of 44 games under their head coach Herm Edwards, which is also a really impressive stat. And with all that goes to say that they only have 4 returning starters this year because they lost so many players, like we said earlier, to the transfer portal. So while they do have all those impressive stats, it will be very interesting to see if they can continue that legacy that they've built for themselves with only 4 starters coming back.
Agreed.
So.
And I mean, we don't need to dwell on the negatives of the last game. We held them to 15 points until the last quarter of the game. And even then, like, there were, yes, obviously mistakes, but still we came out with a not and, like, it wasn't a perfect win, but no game is perfect.
Exactly.
You know, there's always going to be complications. But here we saw they only allowed they got 13 tackles total, and they got 2 sacks. Like, it's difficult to get that kind of numbers, you know, and it's obviously it's the first game. We keep talking about that, but it's like that set the tone
like
for the
right
season.
out the gate. Like that's what people were looking for.
Yeah, and so I think that that's going to be something that we have a lot to kind of work from. But let's kind of talk about some specifics. You know, we have a couple key players for this game, Mason Cobb and Kendall Daniels. Let's talk Mason Cobb. What are your thoughts?
I mean, last game, him and Daniels both combined for 22 total tackles. Like,
that
is insane. Like, what? Okay, but Mason Cobb, he definitely, obviously, like I said, he had 11 tackles. 2.5 of those were for loss, so that's also a really impressive stat. I think a lot of what we talked about last week was leadership and how important that will be in our defense and how they perform. And I think that in the absence of Malcolm Rodriguez, that Mason Cobb could be a guy that really does step up and fill those shoes. Like he proved last week that he does have what it takes to hold his own out there and make a name for himself, especially just like I said, with the absence of some guys that were really important to the defense last year.
Right.
So
yeah, I mean, and he is a junior. This is not his first time stepping onto that field. Like he has been with Gundy's for 3 years now.
Yeah.
And so I think that that's really persuasive in his career. I think that having that time under his belt is kind of what's helping him out. And, you know, that's kind of what's helping him set the tone for these younger guys is like, look, watch me. Like, I know what I'm doing. I've
Leads
been
by
there,
example,
I've practiced.
basically.
Yeah, and that's, like, we talked about leadership probably every single segment last show.
Yeah.
That was something, though, that we really had to focus on because it was like, who else did we have to look for as the first game of the season?
Exactly.
But still, it's so early, and these guys are still looking up to these older guys, and they're thinking, like, okay, what are they doing that I need to be doing?
Exactly. And I think we could see that with Kendall Daniels last week, too. He really just kind of stepped into those shoes too as a younger guy. He was a redshirt freshman. Exactly. And like you said, Mason Cobb, like leading by example, I think that he was doing a really, really good job of that. And Daniels kind of saw that example and was able to kind of step up and see, you know, like that, okay, that's how I'm supposed to play. That's how I'm supposed to perform on defense. Yeah. And he also had 11 tackles, like I said. Yeah. He had an interception, only one of the game. Yeah. So that was also a really impressive stat. You know, I don't know. I feel like we don't get a whole lot of those all the time. So it was really cool to see a younger guy be able to step up and kind of take charge of that defense.
I think so, too. I think that we have a lot of guys that are going to be very prominent on the field. I mean, including Dominic Richardson and Jason Taylor the second. Like, I think that we have a very powerful crew. I just think now it's about getting that kind of cohesive team effort. It's not it's not quite there yet, but I mean, it's the week 2. So I think they have a lot to work on, but I think that we're at a great spot.
I agree. And you said Jason Taylor. He had 9 tackles against the, Central Michigan last season. Or, sorry, not last season. Last game. So I think he's also someone to be looking for sure.
Yeah. Dominic Richardson, always
Right,
prominent. But,
right.
you know, we're going to send it over back to Who Has the Edge with Mia and Jacob. What do you guys have for us?
All right, so a big part of last week's game for the Oklahoma State Cowboys was their defense. Just the big things that we need to hit on. They allowed 44 points last week. That's just the bottom line. 44 points, that's a lot of points. Allowed 550 plus total yards. That's a lot of yards. They did have 1 interception, which was impressive. Jason Taylor, he was all over the place, especially early. Jason Taylor starting safety. But overall, secondary got scorched. They allowed over 400 passing yards. That's just not a good stat to hold, especially when you're in an offensive, pass-heavy, Big 12 sort of thing. New defensive coordinator. He showed some good stuff out there, because I think the biggest thing that we need to look at is last week's game on defensive-wise was a tale of 2 halves. You got anything to add?
I think really just who's going to have the edge in this game is going to be Arizona State, just because to me they're more established. And like you said, we have our new coach. We've got some new players. Last game, they gave up too many. I mean, that's just something they're just going to have to get that together for this game. And this game is going to come down to defense, because we're more passing team and they're more rushing team. So really it's who's going to be able to guard what. And I think if our defense, like the coordinator and the players, can get it together and just figure out, you know, how to get those stops, how to not allow so many yardages, like then we're going to be able to pull it through. But in my opinion, ASU's just, they're more established. They get more stops and they allow less yardage. And of course, that's just going off the last game. But
in terms of Arizona State, what they looked like, last year that was the strong suit of their team. Their defense was really what got them 8 wins and got them to the bowl game last year. However, the big thing is that they almost have an entirely new secondary, which could come in favor for Spencer Sanders and the passing offense. 3 new starters on the defensive line. They only returned 1 starter there, and they do return their number 1 and number 3 leading tackler. So that's a big thing. But they lose 2 of their linebackers, and then they also have a new defensive coordinator. So similar to Oklahoma State, they have a lot of new guys, new faces out there on the field and on the sideline. That's a big thing coming into this game this week. And but more recently, talking about last week's game, allowed only 3 points to Northern Arizona and 120 total yards. No matter who you're playing against, only allowing 120 yards, that's very goddamn impressive. So, and also 2 interceptions, very impressive there as well. So Arizona State, strong suit defense, looked like last week they're keeping that up. Oklahoma State's got some defensive things to work on. That's the bottom line, and I've got to agree. Arizona State probably has the edge. Yeah,
and of course with that, like, they only allowed 3 points in the whole game. In the fourth quarter last week, OSU allowed 22, which is just, with that, you know, you just got to take, I mean, it's just not okay. But on a more positive note, we had some dominant players in Mason Cobb and Kendall Daniels and Jason Taylor. I mean, like they said, Cobb and Daniels together, they had 22 tackles. So that's honestly pretty impressive, especially for this new coming team. So I think they do have some potential to get it together soon.
Like I said, it was a tale of 2 halves last week, and I mean, 44-15 halftime score, only allowing 15 points, and then of course the deluge of points they allowed in the fourth quarter. A big question coming into this game is, what's the Oklahoma State defense going to look like coming into today? Are we going to get the first half defense or the second half defense? That's the big thing, and because Arizona State was played so flat out dominant last week, Arizona State just has the edge, I think. Although there were some bright spots, we'll have to see how Oklahoma State does. And that's the defense. We say Arizona State has the edge, and now we are going to head back out to Connor, who is still roaming the campus grounds around Boone Pickens Stadium.
Mia, now some may remember this the tent back here, as last week we were actually back at this tailgate, but every single week has been different. I'm back here with Gene, and I got a new friend Davis with me, and we got to start going down the line of what we have here. That's kind of like the tradition right now.
Let's do that.
All right, so let's come on down here.
So the theme this week was barbecue, right? So we're actually starting off with cookies, and to be honest with you, there's like There was like 35% or 35 times more cookies last week when we started. You get in here, these poppy mini puffs are the bomb. I promise you that. So we get into the barbecue. Oh, it was salsa. This actually, she made the salsa. So, and honestly, the best salsa you could possibly have ever in your life. And then barbecue bologna. I was up this morning at 4:30 to put that on.
It was amazing.
Morning. Yeah, absolutely.
It was amazing. Yeah. Just like the barbecue we made last week.
And then pulled pork.
Oh,
and
man.
then these jalapeno poppers. My buddy Marshall, who's around here somewhere, he made those this morning, and he's already gone. I mean, he's actually part of the bathroom, but he'll be back. There he is, Marshall. He's the brat and jalapeno popper guy. You're on TV. Say hi.
Hello.
Anyway, but he made those, and so this is the barbecue team. So that was kind of there. We got some other stuff over there. But that's
Great spread. All right, Davis, we got a fun matchup coming up right now. What are our thoughts going into this, especially Arizona State, been a consistent winning program in the Big 12?
Absolutely.
What are your thoughts?
So I'm looking forward to, I think the defense needs to play a little bit better. Offense looked great last week, so, I got the Pokes winning big. I'm going to throw a prediction. I'm going to say 49-24. I think the defense does give up more than 20. But I think the defense does play better, tighten up, and I think Spencer has another good game with no turnovers. So I think the Pokes roll and go 2-0 to start the year.
Hey, you heard it here first. Now, I'm going to be throwing it up going into the studio. Our own John Orange will be taking over on the final one. I got to give a score prediction, 38-27, Oklahoma State. Back to you, Jacob and Mia. I appreciate
you guys. That was awesome. The one bummer about doing the pregame show, I have to say, is definitely missing out on all that good tailgating.
I will say, I agree with you
and
on that.
all the good tailgating food. That's my stuff. Hamburgers, hot dogs, nothing better.
Oh, yeah.
But we're about to send it to commercial. But before we do that, I just want to say we're going to come back and talk about the offense. So be sure to come back to the pregame show and listen to that. Back to commercial.
I'm Kristen Hawkins. I went to Oklahoma State University here in Stillwater in 99 to 2004. I've always felt like Stillwater needed more family-friendly things to do, and we have opened up AR Workshop. We do everything from knitting blankets that can be done in a 3-hour class. We create doormats and porch signs. The Christmas wreaths with our yarn that we use for the blankets. We also do, we just started a new project for gnomes, and we've done pumpkins during the fall. But our big thing that we do here are interior signs. Our designs are extremely unique to AR Workshop. Customers come in, everything is here for them to do. They create everything. They can be as hands-on as they want. They came in here to relax and have fun, and that they are proud of their project that they've made.
We would design something, it was set on the counter, and people was either, if enough of them said, this isn't it never made to the line. Dad was excited that they're all original. They were all designed on Mom's kitchen table, and it gets in your blood after a while.
We're very happy that Pamela and Michael have taken over the business and kept the family going.
We took the business over in 2017. When we found that it was available, we wanted to keep the legacy of family alive, but it was also incredible products that deserved to be a part of Made in Oklahoma's story. We were a part of Made in Oklahoma years ago, and so it kind of grew as Made in Oklahoma grew.
Oklahoma is ingrained into everything that we did. We've been here most of our life. That's what we entailed our whole business on, was the Oklahoma homegrown feeling.
My name is James Remedy. Fired Up Stilly is the name of the business, and I'm one of the owners. We all three met, the three owners, working as employees at a similar place like this. What I hope for is for everybody to feel welcome, like family. Not only do I want students to feel welcome to come here and study and use our free Wi-Fi, but also I want adults and families to be able to come in. We've built a connection with a lot of people, and Stillwater's a big community, so we just want to invite everybody to be able to eventually make their way through our doors. Well, definitely the teas, I would say. Most people fall in love with them. They just got a great amount of energy, gets you going through your day, and it just kickstarts you to get everything you need to done. For myself, it would just have to be, being the owner, owning something that, is able to impact other people's lives. And, the way we can affect our community is something that I really have always wanted to do. We love our clients and our customers that come through every day, and we enjoy getting to know them.
Hey everyone, welcome back to the pregame show. We're going to be talking some offense this segment, but before we get into that, today is a crazy day in college football. We have some surprising scores rolling in right now. Just heard about the A&M App State game.
Oh, yeah.
Big upset all around.
A&M's ranked number 6 right now in the polls. Literally.
No, I don't know what's going on. Because Notre Dame lost to Marshall and Washington State beat Wisconsin. Today is like... The football gods are not on everyone's side, but I mean they better be on ours.
I know,
because I'm crossing my fingers and I'm waiting
literally
for that.
Literally, so many upsets today.
Yeah.
Excuse me. I mean, literally, like almost Texas and Alabama. Till the very end. So,
but yeah, I know that's crazy. But we just wanted to shed some light on that before we get into offense. So Emma, ready to kick it off?
Yeah.
Let's start with some Spencer Sanders. He's the icon for OSU offense.
Exactly.
So. Yeah, he played insane last game, 406 yards, rushed for 57 yards, 6 total touchdowns.
6 total.
Like, who is he?
Hey, you might need to explain yourself a little bit.
I was like, I'm holding my tongue after the last show because, he came out of nowhere and he just blew it up.
He showed everyone, all the doubters.
He must have heard me
maybe.
through the grapevine.
He was like, okay, watch this.
You're about to be wrong.
Watch
this. I stand by that.
Yeah.
That's the last time I will probably throw him under the bus on live TV.
There you go. It
bit me in the butt.
I mean, this game, I don't think I expect him to have as an explosive performance as he did last week, but I do think that he's definitely proven how capable he is of, carrying this offense to things that we didn't really think he was capable of. So I think today will be a really good indicator, again, against a tougher matchup, even a tougher defense than we've seen so far. It'll definitely be a good indicator to see, is he really how he's been performing? Is it just a one-time thing, or is that, what we can expect from him in the games moving forward?
Yeah.
So.
But anyways, let's talk kind of offense as a whole. Against Central Michigan, they had 531 total yards, 406 of those passing. Obviously, we said that was Spencer. But, that's a big chunk. I think that's the biggest chunk we've kind of had in a minute,
Yeah.
And so I think that, obviously, the passing yards are not going to be that heavy today. I mean, we have 2 rushing teams, and Spencer Sanders, I think, is going to kind of rely on that. But, I mean, we could be shocked because they are prepared for that run game. I think that we could see some pass out of him. So I'm curious to see kind of how he's going to do with that.
Yeah, I am too. And, like you said, the run-heavy offense, Dominic Richardson last week didn't have a whole lot of production. He had 61 yards with a touchdown against Central Michigan. It's pretty consistent, I feel like, for him, but it's not exactly what everyone was kind of expecting. Right. So I feel like kind of this game is a better opportunity for him to kind of figure out, his rhythm, get everything going while we're trying to figure out, is it going to be more of a pass-heavy game or more of a run-heavy game? And it kind of just depends on what their defense has been preparing for this past week.
Right. And obviously, I mean, we talked about the NAU-ASU game 40-3. It's going to be a big difference for both teams. And, I mean, they got 419 total yards, 152 passing, 267 rushing. And so I think that that's going to be something that is going to be kind of interesting to see, I don't know kind of where those numbers are going to fall, and I don't know kind of how our offense is going to put up with the defense, with their defense, because last weekend for both teams was a very high-scoring game. I don't see that potentially happening today.
Okay, yeah.
I think it'll be kind of a mid-range. I don't think it'll be in the 40s. I definitely don't think it'll be in the 50s.
Yeah.
So.
And I think we can touch on a little bit of Arizona State's quarterback, Emory Jones. He's a transfer out of Florida this year. Just got to Arizona State. And his first game, he had 152 yards. He didn't throw for any touchdowns, but he rushed for 48 yards and had 2 rushing touchdowns. So, again, like we were saying, I think that he'll have a lot of opportunities to run the ball today and kind of rely more on that. And, I mean, we have, I don't know how exactly to say his name, Xavier Valladay. He's also transferred to Arizona State. He's out of Wyoming. And this last game, he ran for 116 yards and 2 touchdowns. So, again, just reiterating the fact that they're really defensive-based offense today. So
yeah, I mean, before we kind of send it over to who has the edge, let's just talk about really quick Braden Johnson.
Yes.
Redshirt senior wide receiver. You know, he played dominant last game. He was insane. So, I mean, we have here Spencer's favorite target on Thursday. He had 113 yards.
Yeah.
1 touchdown, 22 yards per reception. So I think that with the luck that we had last week, and if that carries over, I think that it's going to be another really good perforance out of him.
For sure. He's
So
definitely someone to watch this game, for sure.
Yeah, I think we're going to have a lot of standouts, so I'm curious to see who it goes to. But time for Who Has the Edge. Mia and Jacob, what do you guys have for us?
Alrighty, so those upsets earlier, they really excited me. Man, I love college football. All right, anyway, who has the edge on offense? I'm going to run through a few quick things real fast. All right, first off, the big one, Spencer Sanders, electric. Over 400 total yards last week combined. He was phenomenal. 6 total touchdowns. It was just great. He was wonderful. All right. Dominic Richardson on the run, while he only had 61 yards, that's the big number everyone's looking at. Another number to look at, 9 carries. That's not a large volume. He averaged 6.8 yards per carry. Huge, because anything really around or above 4 yards per carry, it's really good. So 6.8 is something to be really good. Braden Johnson, Brennan Presley, and John Paul Richardson looked amazing catching passes last week from Mr. Sanders. To be fair, Braden Johnson going into that game, I didn't even know who was on the team. And so it was great seeing him out there. Brennan Presley, we know who he is, and John Paul Richardson's taking that next step forward. Really, for Oklahoma State, it's going to come down to the trenches. Arizona State, last year, 28.3 points per game, not great. This year, new quarterback, new top 3 running backs. They've got a bunch of new receivers in. And they got only 2 returning starters on the offensive line and a new offensive coordinator. A bunch of new faces on the offense. Although their transfer running back that they had, Valladay, 100+ last week against NAU. It's really a tale of 2 offenses. One last week, pass heavy. The other, run heavy. So that being said, who has the edge on offense?
On offense, I'm just going to have to give the edge to OSU. Basically, it's 2 completely different offenses. OSU is more passing game and ASU is more rushing, mostly because they have a running back as dominant as Valladay.
Yes.
I mean, you can't go through a game with 116 and nobody's going to talk about it. That's absolutely insane. And he only had a loss of 2. So that's almost unheard of, and it's pretty dominant. But like you said, OSU's passing game was just incredible. 406 yards. Sanders was 28 of 41 completed with 4 touchdowns. That's 68% on a high throw game. So honestly, I think it's going to come down to that pass game, but it's going to come down to the defense. What are they going to be able to guard? Is it going to come down to, well, is ASU going to be able to guard our pass game to where we have to go rushing, or are we going to be able to stop the rushing and force them to throw whenever they're not used to that? Last game, he only threw 18 and completed 13. So he's not really comfortable with throwing whenever you've got a player like Valladay. So what are the options for today?
To me, Oklahoma State has the edge, which we're really going to come down to this game. Who has the trenches? Oklahoma State and Arizona State's defense, the strong suit is the front 7. That's going to come more in favor of Oklahoma State, being that the Sun Devils are a very run-heavy team. If they can combat the run of Arizona State, the pass-heavy offense of Oklahoma State is really going to come in big here for the Cowboys. All right, score predictions. What is yours? Who do you think comes out on top today in the day of upsets?
My score prediction, I'm going to give it 34-27 OSU, and that's only because basically it's going to come down, can ASU compete, can their run game compete with our pass game, our deep pass game, and can OSU close it out? So I'm going 34-27.
Okay, that's a good close game. I'm along the same lines here. I had a thought and I forgot it. Great. Okay, anyway, so, I remember now. All right, who has the edge? We've gone through 3 things. Simple math. OSU has two sides on the edge. Arizona State has 1. So, simply, Oklahoma State has the edge. Give me 31-20 for the Oklahoma State Cowpokes here at home at BPS to get to 2-0. An impressive game here. I'm excited. I'm really excited to see how this game turns out.
It can
go a multitude of ways.
It's going to be a close one. We got 2 different teams, and I'm excited to see it.
So, we all have 4 wins for Oklahoma State. Now on to Jonna, who is around the OSU campus at BPS.
Thanks, guys. We're here live at the entrance of the Boone Pickens Stadium. I'm here with Creighton Shaw. Creighton, what is your final predictions for this game?
So I think we're going to win by 11. You know, ESPN says we have about an 18% chance of winning, or 18 to 22% chance of winning. I think we're going to win by 11, so I'm going to trust their instincts. I think it's going to be a good game. I think we're going to be up the whole game, but, you know, who knows how Arizona State's going to play.
So, Creighton, what do you think about this Texas game? Sorry, the fireworks are loud behind us. What do you think about this Texas versus Alabama game that everyone's been going on and on about?
So I think Texas played really well. You know, they just ended up not winning, but they played really well. In my opinion, they played a lot better than Alabama, but Alabama ended up winning. You know, that's just how it goes. Sometimes you can't win all the games, but they played very well.
Creighton, as a fan, what is your role here at Oklahoma State University?
So I run track here at Oklahoma State. I'm a decathlete under Josh Langley, and I'm very blessed to have the opportunity to be here. I'm a sophomore here at Oklahoma State, and, you know, I can't say anything other than go Pokes.
Nice. Can we get a big horns down for the camera? Horns down. Horns down. Awesome. So we're here at the entrance. Who do you meet up with whenever you're here for this game? Do you meet up with your friends, family, or do you just ride solo?
So honestly, I had friends and family here. I had family come up from Tulsa, Oklahoma. That's where I'm from. So I had family come up today. And then I also had friends here from Tulsa that are my roommates. So I've been here all day, and, you know, I get to go home to them every day. My roommates are my friends from Tulsa, so I get to go home to them every day. And, you know, so we had a little get-together today, and then now we're here at the game, and we're very excited to be here.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Creighton. Back to you guys at the studio.
Oh, sorry. We were just talking about that Alabama-Texas game. You know, obviously that was a big game for us. But I'm a loyal OSU. Horns down always.
Yes, me too. Me too. You're good. I'm on the same page.
Sorry. Before we wrap it up, let's get into everyone's favorite segment, Bang or Bust.
Yes.
We got some fun questions today,
Yeah, we
Emma.
do.
I'm going to keep you on your toes,
All
okay?
right. Hey, me too.
Okay.
Get ready.
Okay.
Get ready.
Okay, number one, Bang or Bust, there will be one missed field goal from either team.
You know, since it is the second game, you know, going into it, I think the kickers are still kind of, you know, getting adjusted. I'll say Bang. I think at least one team is going to miss a field goal today, especially just the trend that we've been seeing across all of college football. Just like even in the Alabama-Texas game today, like literally if Texas would have missed that field goal early on, they would have been ahead. So
yeah, true.
I'm like, I think I can see that trend continuing today in OSU and ASU.
Okay. Well, I'm gonna go with you, and I'm gonna say that there will be one missed field goal today. I mean, I don't know who it's gonna be from, but I know last show we talked a lot about kind of that not challenge, I guess, that kind of competition.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, exactly. Between Tanner Brown and Alex Hale.
Yes.
You know, Tanner Brown took that starting spot last game.
Yeah.
I don't think Alex Hale saw the ball once. And so I'm curious kind of if that's going to be the kind of the tone for the season until something potentially happens. But, you know, we're going to send it to commercial really quickly, but then when we get back, we'll get more into it.
They sent it back way too early. It's not your fault.
Okay. I was so
Over the years, we kind of realized that you can get ribs anywhere, you can get a steak anywhere, but you can't always get a Mountain View hot link like ours. So we really decided to focus on that niche and realized we had something really special. So that's when we started focusing more on the hot links, but it's still the same family recipe they were making all those years ago. For us, many of our people that work here have been with us for years and decades. So whereas machines kind of break down over time, the people just get better. And it shows in the products we produce. When you buy a Mountain View product, not only is it gonna taste dynamite, but you're also feeding Oklahomans. You're helping employ Oklahomans, and you're helping to fund the state's economy. So what's better than that?
We use the very best of the best ingredients. Demerara sugar is the best that is. very high quality fruits, berries. The milk we use is the best milk there is. That's why it makes our product stand by itself. I like to make yogurt because I like to eat yogurt. We've been doing this for ourselves for many years because it's our tradition, our family. And we want to have a product which would be very similar to French yogurt, but with our touch of uniqueness, linking our name, our products, with the reputation of the Made in Oklahoma Coalition was probably the best thing we have done as far as promoting our product.
Are when folks drink our water is that they'll drink it for a few days and find out the difference. They'll start feeling better because there's been no chemical in our water. There's a list of good things that we have. We don't have any bad things in it. I see the future of Divine Water as being worldwide, which will bring outside dollars into the state. It means a lot to me because I started it, I guess, and our family started it.
One banger bus left. Okay, so we got 4 more for you guys, 4 more for you, Emma.
Hey, 4 more for you too, girl.
Yeah, true. But okay, let's get it. Number 2, there will be a 2-point conversion in this game.
Okay.
What are your thoughts?
I'm gonna have to go with bust on this one. I just think that it will be a competitive game in my opinion, but I don't think that either team will have to resort to kind of making up for something that happens in the beginning with a 2-point conversion, because I think both of them will come out pretty strong. But like I said, I do think OSU will have the edge in this game right here. Just coming out strong, not having to rely on those extra things like the 2-point conversion. So I'm gonna say bust on that one for either team.
I'm with you on that one. I feel like just because it's so early, you know, I don't think that we're gonna need to have one unless it's like this crazy close game, you know.
I agree.
So I'm gonna go with bust as well, but I think that it would be fun. It would be
It
fun
would.
to see,
It would.
but I don't
Mix things
think,
up a little bit.
Yeah, I don't think it's likely. So I'm gonna go with bust as well.
Okay. And then the next one,
You started,
I'll let you answer this one first.
Oh.
So, do you think that Spencer Sanders will have 4 total touchdowns, rushing and passing?
Yeah. I don't know why I hesitated. I do. I think that, you know, with the output that he had in that last game, and I think kind of just hopefully with the positive tone of this game, I think that that's very accomplishable for him. I think that that's very, very, not very something, but I think that is something that he is very capable of.
Yeah, for sure.
And so I'm going to go with Bang because I think, like, he got 2 on his own. He got 6 passing touchdowns, so I don't see why not.
6 total.
I 4 touching or 4 passing, 6 total. Yes, but I don't see why not.
Yeah,
so I'm gonna go with Bang.
Yeah, I agree with you on that one. Honestly, I'm gonna say Bang too, just because of, like you said, like his production last week, 6 total touchdowns from Sanders. I don't know. I just think it'd be doing kind of an injustice for him if we said, you know, he would get less than that. So I think that our offense is gonna be really reliant on him today. I
think so too.
Passing and running game. Especially the run game, just because of how Arizona State's offense is. So I think it'll be cool to watch him today, especially like it was last week. You know, just coming off of that strong performance, I think he'll be able to carry that over today.
I think so too. I think he's gonna be great. Like I'm being on a positive note this show because I was in a bad Spencer Sanders mood last show. But no, I think he's gonna come out on top, and I'm crossing my fingers, praying OSU comes out on top.
Yes.
But it's football. You never know. Okay, last one. Football, and then I have a fun one for you.
All right.
Bang or bust, OSU defense gets 4 sacks.
Okay, I was thinking about this because, you know, last week against Central Michigan we had 2. But again, going back to the fact that we did put a lot of younger players into the second half because we were ahead by so much. I think I'm gonna be like an optimist here and go with a bang. I think that it's very possible with the guys that if we get all 4 quarters, the guys that we do have, that if they're, you know, coming out strong and keeping that through all 4 quarters, I do think that they'll be able to get those 4 sacks out there, especially with a run-heavy quarterback in Emory Jones for Arizona State. So I think they'll have a lot of opportunities to kind of redeem themselves this game in that aspect.
Okay.
What about you?
I think I might go with bus. I just feel like 4 is a big number for this early in the season. I think there's potential for them to get 4 in any Big 12 conference game, you know, once we're kind of settled in our routine. I just think that this is kind of a questionable game for us. Not in the regards like, oh my gosh, is this like a toss-up if winning or losing? I mean, it is, but also I don't think the defense didn't prove themselves to me last game.
Okay.
And so I think that they're going to come out a lot stronger, but I think 4 sacks is a lot for a game, a week 2 game.
Okay. I can see that too.
That's my final thought on that. Okay, are you ready for my last
I'm ready
one?
for the fun one. What is it?
As I'm sure you know, and all you OSU fans out there, we got Stripe Out BPS tonight.
Yep,
and I saw if you check out the OSU Athletics and Cowboy Football, I believe's Instagram, they have shirts handed out in the stadium. So if you're one of the first people to get to your seat, according to your color, they're giving you your designated color. Do you think, bang or bust, Stripe Out BPS will be successful tonight?
I think solely because of the shirts that you're talking about, I think it'll be a bang. I think everyone's going to kind of show up for that. I mean, it's a little different than the past years. I know they used to do it like vertical stripes, you know, like white and orange based on like the seat number you had. And this year it's like each like 300 level, 200 level, 100 level, or all different colors. So I don't know. I think people will be able to do it just solely because of the shirts that they're providing. So I don't know. It'll be interesting to see.
It's tough, you know? I mean, the shirts will help. I think it's going to be successful. I have faith in these Cowboy fans. I'm planning on being in the white section. I hope I get a shirt, but no guarantee. I know people are gonna be swooping those up.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think it's gonna be fun. I love that we're doing themes this early in the season. I think it's getting people riled up and ready to go.
Yes.
But let's maybe talk special teams just really quick.
Yeah, for sure.
We had talked about the kicking competition between Tanner and Alex. I think ASU also has a very strong special teams. I mean, it's obviously not their dominant aspect of the game, but I think that it's still something special. So they are missing some key players. But I think that redshirt freshman Jace Feely and true freshman Carter Brown are going to be battling for that starting spot. I think that they're going to be kind of in a similar situation as OSU right now. But I think that they're going to be. I think they're going to be kind of a force to be reckoned with. I mean, it's a good team.
Yeah.
Like I don't think this is someone we should be hesitant about.
I agree. And really quick, score prediction. What do you got?
Okay. Similar to Jacob, I didn't even know what his thoughts were, but I'm gonna go with 30-21 OSU.
Okay.
What about you?
I have it a little higher than everyone else's just because of the performance last week. But I'm gonna go 42-31 OSU. So. We'll see how it plays out, but I can definitely see it being a lower scoring game in comparison to how last week was.
Okay.
So.
Well, there's a lot of Big 12 games going on today and a lot of games that already happened, so be sure to check up on that. But that's going to be it for the pregame show. Emma, thank you for joining me tonight.
Dylan.
Happy Saturday, everyone. Happy game day. As always, go Pokes.
Go Pokes.
And have a great night.
Ace in the Bowl salsa started many, many years ago. I was trying to find a recipe to take to a family gathering, and so I started messing around with different recipes, and I took a little bit from here and a little bit from there, and I came up with a salsa that is truly unique. Ace in the Bowl salsa is an olive oil-based salsa with tomatoes, green chilies, green onions, and black olives. There's no sugar added, it's gluten-free, low calorie, low carb, low fat, low sodium. So it's a very, very, very good alternative to any snack you may want. As of right now, I'm just looking to be in Oklahoma and having a successful business within the state. If my grandkids could ever take it over when they're old enough, that would be my dream.
Our state is one of the most beautiful and unique states in the USA. With diverse geographies, the historic Route 66, unforgettable restaurants, and some of the greatest people on the planet. With so much to see and so much to do, living in Oklahoma means one of the best vacation spots is right in our own backyard. Doesn't this story need to be told? As filmmakers and photographers based right here in Oklahoma, we thought so. And hey, who doesn't like a good road trip? So, we packed up our cameras, teamed up with Lieutenant Governor Matt Pinnell and the Oklahoma Tourism and Recreation Department, and that's how this series was born. We want to show you why traveling within the great state of Oklahoma is a great idea. So come join us for thousands of miles over the next year, from Broken Bow to